friends that were going into credit card debt to attend all these things. And I'm like, is it worth it? And that's not for me to say it is or it isn't. I find the product, I'm a big fan of wrestling. I want to be able to go to all these things, but they do need to consider that not everybody can afford all these things. And I think, like you said it best, I thought it too, is it's not going to affect this year. And I had a conversation with my dad about it too. I'm like, cause he's like, I'm like, yeah, man, they did great. They had a lot of people. And he's like, yeah, but will they next year? Like
your dad's right. Your dad's right.
I think that's something they need to consider.
I go back to Vince all the time, and I know people have their opinions about him and all this kind of stuff. But as you get a little farther, you've seen him. He showed up at the Super Bowl. He showed up at Madison Square Garden, and there wasn't that vitriol that I think people expected. The one thing he always taught me and us, Shane, is that it's about the family. It's about the fans. And he would never have put Bret Hart and Stone Cold out on the stage and then given himself his own music and entrance. It was never about him. Sure. It was about the fan base. And so to see them do what they did, I can only imagine his reaction to that. But you see all these executives on CNBC going, and this is a direct quote from Mark Shapiro. He's a CFO. He's like, we're selling out so fast, our shows, that clearly we're not charging enough for our tickets. Can you imagine a CFO saying that?
I think he said it. Despite anyone's or my personal opinion on Vince, I think that obviously, there was a lot of brilliance with that man, clearly. And I think that even an example is I'm watching WrestleMania this year. I one thing I get, but I'm not as big a fan of, is the advertisements on the ring. I think what that immediately tells people is like, the one thing we're looking at first and foremost is the ring, and you're slapping it with ads all over the place. You're immediately telling us this isn't about the wrestling, it's about the money. And the moment you start doing that too much, you start to lose the magic and the aura, and people, I worry, like you said, over time are going to start like pulling back a bit, because they're like, this isn't about us anymore. This is about just making as much money as possible, which, you see starting to happen in many aspects of entertainment and how it's affecting entertainment. Like I'm out here in Los Angeles, and the entertainment business has never struggled more, because you do have a lot of these like money hungry CEOs that are making decisions not based on, let's not make a good movie. Let's make a movie that checks all the boxes. Does it have a major star? Is it an Avengers type movie? All these boxes, we're going to check all the boxes without answering the first question of, is it a good movie? Like,
simple.
I think that should be on top of everything. And in wrestling especially, is like, is the story good? Are we servicing the fans? And then let's think about how we can make the most money possible. But going back to ticket prices, you got to answer those two questions first. I think that you got to take care of the fans, because I worry that if the trend starts continuing in this direction of, it's not been getting cheaper, it's getting more and more expensive, and they're throwing more and more events at us. And granted, you don't have to go to everything, but like, I do think that is something they really need to consider before it's too late.